Hey guys, Shane here. Before we get started today, I want to ask you a quick favor. Please hit that subscribe button and give this podcast episode a share on social media so that we can help more families start, build, and grow a membership of their own. We appreciate that so much. Thank you for listening today. And now on to the podcast.
Hey y'all, our guest on today's show is Tyler Brooks. Tyler and his wife Abby have launched a marriage podcast where they help new parents navigate their relationship while getting used to raising kids. On today's call, Shane helps Tyler navigate the rocky waters of being a husband and wife business team, something that we know just a little bit about. He also talks about how to overcome one of the biggest fears almost all entrepreneurs have in the beginning of their journey, that no one will believe that you are expert enough to teach your topic, and how to find the time to work on your online business when you're working full-time and raising kids. Every entrepreneur will benefit from today's conversation. Enjoy the show.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Flipped Lifestyle Podcast. It is great to be back with you again today. Super excited to talk to another real member of the Flip Your Life community so that we can help them take their online dream to the next level. Super excited to introduce today Flip Your Life community member Tyler Brooks. Tyler, how you doing, man?
Good. How are you?
Got a busy life up there, man. You got a house full of kids. Everything's chaotic. All of our kids are home with us. It's been a crazy year, hasn't it?
Yep. Absolutely.
Awesome, man. Hey, listen, tell everybody a little bit about you and your background and what it is that you are trying to do online.
Okay, so as I mentioned, I work. My day job is insurance, but as far as online goes, me and my wife Abby has started basically it's marriage coaching is the focus of it. It's a faith-based Christian marriage coaching. We're basically just on Facebook. We have a podcast, the Sharing the Marriage podcast, and we started that last year. Really didn't start rolling until the beginning of 2020. So we've been trying to put out weekly episodes on that, and we've been married about 10 years now, and we got married in 2010, so it's easy to keep track of that.
You'll never forget you'll never forget
that's what we're doing. We're trying to forget the anniversary.
You'll never forget the anniversary of your 10th anniversary because 2020 was total chaos.
Yeah, exactly. So we just had a new baby a couple months before our 10th anniversary, so that's been interesting too. So essentially, I mean, what we're trying to do, I mean, I have a background in biblical ministry studies. I actually worked as a youth pastor for a time. My wife has elementary education, but she's a stay-at-home mom. And we've just realized we've always been interested in relationships, and, the marriage relationship we feel is just so important. And we want to, help people just in the daily life like we do. We're in the thick of it. We think we've learned a few things, but we also know we have a lot more to learn. And we're really coming at it from just kind of helping people on that journey of marriage and family and raising kids and life, and we're just, trying to just really help people out in that way. So,
well, I'll tell you right now, if the world ever needed marriage counseling, it's probably now, because we've all been locked in our houses with our spouses for 5 straight months, right in the middle of this pandemic, man. You know what I'm saying? And the kids have been trapped in there with us, right? There's no school when we're recording this. So this is definitely a needed thing. What avatar are you targeting? Are you trying to help younger people, maybe people in their 20s just getting married, people in their younger 30s, things like that? Like, what are you targeting right now to help people?
Our primary is really in that I mean, the age can vary, but we're really targeting the married with young kids at home.
Oh, I gotcha.
That's our primary focus. I mean, we do have some, hey, advice for newlyweds or some things like that, but our core is like, married couples, relatively younger married couples, but the key is having young kids at home. Like I said, very similar to ourselves.
Yes, for sure. Yeah. And it's really good to target that, like, to where the kids are, because what we have found, our avatar shifted over the years the same way. It's like, it was really the kids that defined our avatar. It wasn't like the age of the person or anything else. Like, right. Most of the people who come into the Flip Your Life community, not everybody, but most people are somewhere between 30 and 50 and have kids, school age kids. Now that could be kindergarten. It could be high school, right? Like there's different reasons and why people come in on that spectrum. but that's really smart to target it that way because you can speak their language. And every business has to solve a problem. And like general marriage advice isn't going to solve a problem. But hey, you're a couple and this human just came into your life, right? Like, so now you have to negotiate all of that and still, you know, and your marriage pie was 50-50 and now your marriage pie is, oh, that dropped down to 33% really fast, you know?
Yeah.
And so it's a great niche and it's a great target. So you've got a good job. You know, it seems like you guys got it together. You've got your family organized the way that you prefer it. You've got your job here. Like, so other than helping people, why are you wanting to start this like an online business, right? Like what's that can't miss moment you're chasing? That if you had that 100 people paying you $50 a month, making 60 grand a year, or 200 people making 120 grand a year, like what would that look like? Like what's your why?
Well, there's multiple reasons. I've always been trying to do side hustles, and I've always got multiple things going. I do some pressure washing business on the side too. So, which I know you got. I listened to one of your guys here recently that on the podcast.
We got the blue collar niches all over the membership, man. We got the pressure washing guy up in Northern Kentucky, Jason Guyman. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, but really, I come from a family of truck drivers, and it's pretty common in my family that the man at the house works outside the home a lot of hours, and I've done it myself. I've worked in the oil and gas industry in the past as well. I've done a lot of different things, but I've worked 70 to 100-hour weeks, and I've fought to be at home and to be able to put my kids to bed every night, but there's also a financial exchange there as well. So part of that is, I really want, I guess I've seen issues in my own family, in my own sphere of influence, my own friends. And I've seen how marriages can stay together, but also not really thrive, so that's kind of what we're trying to target. But as far as the personal level of being able to make this financially viable for us, it's so that we can, like right now, I would be thrilled if it would just pay for itself so I can do more of it.
Yes.
Because that's been a constant struggle with us and 3 kids and trying to keep my wife at home. It's like, hey, how are we paying for this? And how are we, doing this? And to be honest, I mean, I'm on my second time around joining the community. Actually, I was in it a couple of years ago, but I just dropped off because I wasn't taking action, So, but now this is just, I've had a renewed sense. Some things changed recently in my employment, and I don't know. I just really want to be able to financially to take care of my family, sure. and take it to the next level in that point, but also want to, just be able to have some flexibility in my work. Cool. It would be really nice to be able to say, like, I don't have to go to my day job. Because
that's the end game, man. You got it. But there's a path, right? Like,
right.
All the things we see online are like fast riches and pose on the hood of your Lamborghini and like whatever, all that nonsense, and nobody tells you that they show you the tip of the iceberg. They don't show you what it took to actually do any of that. You know what I'm saying? If it's true at all. And that's why our philosophy is a little different. Like, one, that's why we created this community and this membership was, not all of us run out of the gate and succeed the first time we try online business. In fact, you're not alone, bro. Like most people probably give it a shot and I got to take a pause and then I'm coming back. Right. And that's why the community is still here for you. Imagine if you'd bought a course 3 years ago or whatever. And like now the course is outdated, right? You can't go back to the course. You start from ground zero, but that's not how the Flip Your Life community works. And, when we structure our program, when we think about people just like you with these kind of goals, like, our first mission is to help people be warm, dry, and fed. It's not like we're trying to make millionaires here right away. I'll get you there eventually. But like, first of all, you got to say, well, wait, what funds the business? Well, I'm going to need a couple $100 a month to fund the business. So could we just get 8 people paying us $25 a month? That would pay for the business. Right. That would pay for the podcasting. Then we say, well, wait a minute. What about what about your car payment? Can you get to $500 a month? What about your mortgage? Can you get to $2,000 a month? Now you got your car, your business, and your thing. Now you start stacking those members and you start going, wait a minute. I make this much a month. Wait a minute, I'm not that far away. Let's keep going. Let's keep trying to market this thing, and let's get the membership. So it's really important just to, like, one of my favorite quotes is from a guy named Brendan Bouchard, and he says, honor the struggle, right? It's a mentality I take every day. Like, it's not easy every day. Some days are hard, but like, you know, if you only worked out when it was hard, you know what I'm saying? You'd never work, or when it was easy, you'd never work out. Right. So like, just honor that struggle, man, and be like, man, that was part of the journey. I got it going now. Now it's just a matter of getting the audience, getting the community, and getting the payday every day, getting that raise every day with your membership, and great things can happen. So let's talk a little bit about that before we get into like the technical, tactical, strategic stuff. Like what fears or mindset issues or obstacles are holding you back, like mentally? You know what I'm saying? That's usually what we find is most people's hang up. It's not necessarily like, I can't figure out WordPress, or I don't know how to hook up this Kajabi page or whatever. Like, what fears are holding you back right now?
Yeah, and I think I was thinking about this, and what was the biggest thing I wanted to ask you, because in the community, I mean, you lay out pretty much everything I would need to know to do, and I've set up the website, I've done the email marketing, I think all that stuff I've got a pretty good handle on, or at least have a good track to run on. But the biggest thing is just having that fear, that imposter syndrome. You know, like I said, I'm presenting this as we offer marriage coaching. We're not counseling. We're not giving intense therapy, you know, but to look at that and say it's easy for me to find so many others that are like, they have more credentials, or they have more experience, or I say, me and my wife have been married 10 years and have 3 kids, but then I can look and see others who've been married 25 years, and automatically it's like playing against me in my head, saying, hey, you don't know as much as you think you do. And part of that is a positive thing, but I tend to get into like just the negative thought process, you know, and I find like sometimes if I come out to I have a garage office separate from my house, but I'll come out and I'll, you know, the kids are in bed, and me and my wife will record a podcast, or maybe I'll sit and for a couple hours, I'll just knock out some stuff and schedule emails and post, feel really good about it. I mean, hard to fall asleep because my head's spinning and I'm thinking about things and I'm excited. And then I'll wake up the next morning and just feel so anxious. And I'll just have that thought process of like, oh, this is getting real. This is moving forward. But what if people don't buy? But what if they do and I mess it up? You know? Yeah,
man. I get it. I totally get it.
And I think that has been, honestly, I mean, this has been an idea and a vision I've had for at least a couple of years now. And I've actually I've had Kajabi for, I think, over a year now. And I've not put anything for sale yet.
Wow. But you have been creating content this whole time?
But I've been creating content. My issue is consistency too, though. I think I haven't been nearly as consistent as I wanted to be. So,
but that could be coming from the doubts. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like you get on a roll. Oh man, I've made 3 weeks in a row. I've made a podcast, but oh man, now I'm an imposter again. Oh, someone's going to figure me out. Someone's going to write in and tell me this isn't true, and I don't have a right to do this. And then you stop. And then you come back and like, all right, shake that person off. Now I go to the next one, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, man. Well, listen, imposter syndrome is probably the first hurdle that most people have to really fight, because anytime you put yourself out there, you're exposing yourself for criticism. You're exposing yourself for, people coming in and saying you don't know what you're doing, or you shouldn't be doing this. And like, we faced that too, man. Like when we started out, I mean, when Jocelyn started elementarylibrarian.com, she had only been a librarian for 3 years. In fact, I think she was going into her 3rd year as a full-time librarian. And now she's this, out here telling everybody, she's like 30. She might have, was she 20? I don't remember how old she was, but I think she was 30. And she started, what did I say? It was 10 years ago? It was 8 years ago. If I date my wife wrong, she's going to be really, really mad when she hears this back later. You know what I'm saying? So it's like 31, 32, something like that. She's a young teacher, just started getting in the school system. She'd only been at this school briefly. She'd been in 2 schools, 1 year at one, and then like going into her 2nd year in the other one, I think, something like that. And she faced this. She was like, who's going to listen to me? These 25-year veterans, are going to come in and they're going to have their lesson plans. And they're going to judge me, Shane. They're going to judge my lesson plans. I'm like, Jocelyn, you're not selling to those people. You're selling to the people who just got out of school, who are struggling with a new job, who need someone who's been in the game a couple years and will take them by the hand and help them out, who's suffered through the fire and understands the trials and has that wisdom that they can pass on. So many of us, when we start a business, we think that we have to pass on all of our knowledge or that we've got to know everything about a subject. But people usually aren't looking for knowledge necessarily to solve their problems. There's a lot of knowledge on the internet. They're looking for wisdom, experience. They're looking for an ear, right? And I faced it too in my football coaching site because, when my first head coaching job, man, I was 0-10 and we got running clocked 9 out of my first 10 games. You know what that means? That means someone scored 60 points on me in the first half, 9 out of 10 games, right?
Yeah.
And I was just destroyed, man. And when I first started my first project that really sold some stuff, it was playbooks for this defense that I developed. But what I did have was my God-given experiences, right? And God gave me an 0-10 season. That's one of the most important things that's ever happened to me, is to fail that publicly and that miserably that early in my career. And then he gave me a 2-8 season, and then he gave me a 6-5 season, and then he gave me then an 8-2 season, made the playoffs. What's going on, right? I had this experience. Had I been to a state championship? Had I won a Super Bowl? No, but here's what I did have, that experience. So when I figured out these coaches don't want to learn from Nick Saban, they don't want to learn from Bill Belichick's got Tom Brady, or had him before he went to the Buccaneers. These coaches don't have Tom Brady. They've got their experience of, man, my linemen are really slow. My linebackers cannot tackle. My DBs, they shouldn't even be on the field. They should be sitting the bench for another team, right? How do you win with that? How do you go home happy? That was my goal my third year in coaching. It wasn't to win a district. It wasn't to win a region. It wasn't to go to the championship game. It was, can we go home happy more Fridays than not? That was my goal. And then when I realized that there's other people out there, man, that they just want to talk to somebody that's been through that. Somebody else went 0-10 last year. That guy needs me, right? So that's really what you have to do, is disassociate yourself from the result that you're getting for people, or the results that other people provide. And you just have to say, who can I help? And there's a great friend of ours named Kate All. She runs a website called Simple Pen Media. And I just interviewed her yesterday for Membership Masters, my other podcast. Mm-hmm. And she said the most important question that anybody can ask is, who needs this? And if you write down who needs this, like the parent that just had a kid, they're brand new, whatever. And if you just say, who needs this? And you forget about the needs of every other person in your niche or your audience, but who needs that? And you only speak to them. Well, you'll find out that you're always going to be expert enough for them. They don't want the psychologist with 30 years experience that's going to come in and do X, Y, and Z. They want you and Abby, right? And that'll kind of help dissipate some of that fear. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and another thing we've done, I'm just thinking about this, is the psychologist with 30 years experience. We actually just interviewed a psychotherapist with 20 years experience. That's
a value you can bring, right? Because
it's
you can
knowledge
bring
I don't have.
That's right, and that's what you do as a leader and a coach. Anybody that wants to coach anybody in anything, you got to say, I don't have all the answers, but I do have this. That couple that comes to you that needs your coaching, that has the kids, what they don't have is someone to listen to them. Because when you have a kid and it's your first kid, let's say, you don't want to admit you don't know what you're doing to all your friends. You don't want to admit to other couples that you and your husband or you and your wife might be having problems. You need an outside person that you can go to and relate to and talk to about that. But then you also need that person to connect you with people who are great leaders and great thinkers and have the knowledge they need. So your job is not to know everything or do everything. It's to listen and facilitate what your people need And now it's not on you anymore. There is no more pressure. Don't put that. You don't have to save anybody's marriage. You just have to provide them the tools to save it themselves. Right. And that's what all of us do with our online businesses. All of us.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So let's talk about, you got the consistency thing. I think that's a root of an imposter syndrome thing, right? But what other struggles are you having right now, like with the actual business itself?
Well, right now I have a very, very tiny email list, and
What's tiny? How big's tiny?
Like 30, and I'm on it myself. So
right. Yeah. Okay. So 29. What if 29 people were in the room with you? That would be very tight, right? Right now. Like,
yeah, it would be.
So those are humans. You got some humans. That's
it
all
would
good.
be. And I have a couple of good friends on that list who read my emails and give me some feedback. One of them actually does email marketing as his job. So that's been very valuable. But and I think what it is like I got that number primarily. I think I asked like 35 people, just Facebook connections, and sent messages. And it was a Pat Flynn challenge I did to grow my email list. But I did that, and I got an overwhelmingly, most of the people I asked said, yeah, sure, here's my email. Put me on it.
How many podcast downloads are you getting right now?
It's been all over the place. I mean, it's been pretty low per episodes. I mean,
but did you say you're not creating consistently? You're not like are you missing episodes? Are you having 2 1 month and 4 the next? Like what's your schedule look like?
We've been doing we've released 17 episodes, and I think most of them, we only released a couple of them in 2019. The vast majority have been in 2020, and we've been pretty consistent week to week. Like I said, we did have a new baby the end of February, so we got a little bit ahead there, but we had a few weeks off there in like March.
What does your podcast look like? Is it you and Abby talking, or are they all interviews?
No, it's primarily been me and Abby talking around issues. We go about 30 minutes, and then, like I said, we've started to implement some more interviews as well, just to get some more outside perspective.
Well, I mean, of course, the 3 pillars that we always lean on, our core values, are to be consistent, prolific, and relentless. Like if you're not consistently creating content where your people can count on you, you're not prolifically promoting it on social media and with advertising, and then you're not relentlessly following up with your email list, which means emailing at least Monday, Wednesday, Friday every single week, but we prefer every day. Like that's the hallmark of your brand. Like that's what makes a brand tick. That's why Pat Flynn works. That's why Flip Lifestyle Podcast works. That's why anything works, right? So, what you have to do is, though, you have to create an environment where those 3 things can happen first. Okay. So a lot of people ask me this, like, oh man, I love, kids. I always say it's CPR, man. I'll breathe life into your business if you'll just be consistent, prolific, and relentless. Right. And but you have to create a mechanism for that to happen, and that's going to change. Like, for example, you may notice, on the last couple episodes of the Flip Lifestyle Podcast, like Jocelyn's not always on the interview with me anymore. And what we realized after the pandemic started, and especially after our kids came home when there was no school, right, was that we don't have time to be tethered together anymore. It can't work. It just cannot work anymore. There's not that moment where like, well, the kids are at school that day, let's batch 5 podcasts. Like that doesn't exist anymore for us right now. So what we decided was that we had to untether ourselves. Like Shane does the interviews, Jocelyn's doing the intros. We can batch those at separate times. I'm right now, you're the 8th interview of 12 that I've done over the last couple days, because we're trying to batch the entire 4th quarter of podcasts. So I'm batching all the interviews. Jocelyn's going to script and write the intros for every podcast, record them all in one file, and then we'll have someone edit those. So I think that what I'm hearing a little bit right now is there's a time crunch, right?
Yeah.
And I think you're going to have to rethink how you're doing your podcast to make sure that it will be consistent, right?
Right.
So maybe that looks like you taking over the podcast, because that's a very focused, intensive thing, right? You're at work, you come home, you do your podcast, you batch with interviews, you do whatever. And then maybe Abby takes over the prolific portion. And when she has free time during her day in between with her kids and things like that, she could do all the social media. She could do the sharing. and she could be the voice of your Facebook page, your Twitter page, whatever. But then maybe every once in a while you're like, hey, let me take them and you go record a couple episodes and we'll sprinkle your voice in if you or vice versa.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how you do it. You know what I'm saying?
And I was going to say, I had a friend of mine suggest that to me, because after we had our son, like I said, 5 months ago, I said, yeah, we've just kind of fallen off, and it's hard to get her and, me together. And he says, then you do it yourself for a while. So
exactly.
I actually did about 3 or 4 episodes in a row where it was just me until Abby was able to join me again. So, so that's definitely been that jump started us getting back to it again.
And it's never say never. Like Jocelyn could pop up on an interview. If we're together at the same time, we'll record one, right?
Right.
But life changed, and and if you don't change with it, you can't keep the same thing going when life changes. When you have a baby, when coronavirus shuts down schools, when everything else. But like the great entrepreneurs, you adapt. And you don't listen to your audience. I love you guys. Sorry about that, but we didn't check with you before we did this. But like, you have to facilitate what you can do. What's that rule? The golden rule of piracy from Captain Jack Sparrow. The only thing that matters is what a man can do and what he can't do. Right. and if you gotta, that's a real thing. And we realized we can't do the interviews at the same time anymore. Now, a year from now, we've got a coronavirus vaccine. Schools are back open. Maybe life gets back to normal. Something changes, or our kids, their life is going to look different when they can drive in, a few years, which is terrifying for me. But but when that happens 4 years from now, I'm sure that our content flow or our job will look very different. But one thing that we always say too, like when we're in a meeting with each other or with our team, is someone will say like, well, we want to do this, but we can't do it the way we're doing it. Well, then the way we're doing it has to change. Like that's what people miss. Some people are like, "Ooh, I'm going to be consistent. I'm going to add recording all the podcasts to my daily schedule." Or, "Ooh, I'm going to be prolific. I'm going to add social media." And we're like, "Yo, your life was completely full for 16 hours a day, and you're adding to it. What did you get rid of?" Right? You had to take something out to put something in. Y'all, it don't work that way. So like that would looking for those ways to get rid of some things in your life that don't matter as much as other things. Sometimes they really matter, right? And that's what we teach in our time management course, is looking at your 168 hours a week and saying something's got to go. Something's got to go before you get something else.
Right.
So maybe looking for more moments like that too,
Yeah. And I have done something I've really gathered a lot of value I've gotten from you just from listening to the podcast and reading emails is the batching of the content, because I can record a video, pull the audio from it to the podcast, and then actually make that into, a blog post, or like some of the email content I've been sending out. I've been
content
just pulling that into a blog post, and I put that up on Facebook. And, that's been really helpful, because I'm like, oh, wow, I did one thing, and then I was able to really save time by just reusing that as well.
So now imagine, imagine if Abby didn't have to come in with you on the video recording, right? And maybe at the end of the recording, you just drop the video into a folder, and she's in the other room doing something else, or when she has time in her schedule that you all have planned out, she could upload it to Facebook. She could upload it to YouTube. You're both still participating. You're both supporting the mission. You've just delegated authority of different zones to each other. Yeah, she's the general of social media. You're the general of the recording, and this can work vice versa. So I don't want to be getting any emails, y'all, listening to this about me. This is how their business works and their house works, and I know women can do the recording, and I know men can do the sharing. We got plenty of those in the community too. Y'all need to go to ivynewport.com, and you'll see how a power team really does it, because Chris, if you're listening, you're on the back end and Ivy's out front. That's how it works. So don't think we're just getting out. We're pigeonholing anybody here. Okay. Yeah. But you see what I'm saying? Like there's just a difference of the batching is important as a principle, right? But that's a strategy. What's the tactics that your family has to put in place to be able to batch, right? Like, for example, right now, Isaac is at basketball lessons. Okay. And this morning, Anna Joe went with Jocelyn to basketball lessons. because basketball lessons are at a friend's house, and it's just Jocelyn and her friend, who is another female. That'd be weird if I'm like, hey, you go record this and I'll just go hang out with your friend. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I mean, it's like, I don't even know her barely. So like that, so we decided, oh, this works good. This is going to happen this day. You do this day. And then when I get home, I'll take the kids fishing or we'll do something. And then Jocelyn will have her scripts. I write a script after every time I record one for her. So she knows that she doesn't have to listen to the whole show. She knows what it's about. Right. And then she records her part. So we just created, this is brand new too, man. This started a month ago, right? So this is brand new, man. You just have to find a way, man. Figure it out. Like what does work is infinitely more important than what you want to work, right? So you just got to sort that out with you guys, you know. And this is a struggle for us. I'll tell you here's a marriage tip since you guys are coupling together here. You can pass this on to your people. You know what we have to always protect ourselves when we're working with our spouse, or even if it's not working directly with our spouse. If our spouse is doing one job and we're doing another, we got to really make sure we're valuing each other's contribution. Like me talking to you is not more important than Jocelyn. She hangs out in the forums way more than I do, right? So because it just works better in her schedule. You do it on her phone. She can go in there and answer questions, and so she's coaching over there. I'm coaching here. There's a tendency to feel that way though, like, ooh, I'm the one talking, or ooh, I'm the one answering all the questions, or ooh, I'm doing this, and we've struggled with that too. Like, we got to honor each other's work. Like the guy in the back running the caboose that has the brake is as important as the guy at the front throwing the coal in the fire, right? The train don't work without both of you. So just make sure you're doing that going into this. Like, hey, let's figure this out. What can we both do, and how can we honor each other's contribution to the family? Right. Yeah. Good stuff. Yeah. What else? It says in here too, you said money is definitely an obstacle right now. Like what does that mean by that? Because you didn't really extrapolate on that. Is it just do you feel guilty spending money on the business instead of other things, or stuff like that, or where's the money struggle coming from?
Well, without getting too much into it,
how much do you make and what are you spending every week? No,
well that's the thing is we've had some things have changed. I used to work in my dad's business, and in the past year, that changed, and I left that, and I took a very substantial pay cut in that. Sure. So, we've been trying to just figure things out over the past year, and that's part of the impetus for this is to say, hey, if this could make, even $500 a month to $1,000 a month, that would help us be able to continue doing it. And then also, be able to help contribute as well to our monthly expenses. So, I mean, that's where I say it is like, I feel like I'm in a position right now where I'm just staying afloat with it. And I'm not really able to, so if you tell me, hey, Tyler, here's what you got to do. You got to go spend $5,000 on Facebook ads today. Like, it's not happening.
For sure.
As much as I want to, it's just
for sure.
not happening,
Yeah. You can roll up your sleeves or open your wallet. Thank God we've got both options, because sometimes the wallet can't find it. It's in the couch cushions. I don't know where the wallet is. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I think what you've got to do is, okay, so let's forget the fears and stuff. You can wrestle with that. You and Abby can have a great conversation about workflow. But like, here's what you have to do in your business. If you want to make money, you have to have a product. Like, you can't not have anything for sale when you're creating content, right? And that's you need to stop everything you're doing right now, and you need to create your core membership. Like, that's the only, because then what happens is, like, it's a concept we teach called working backwards. We actually have a training on this in the community about what it's in our sales funnel training. We teach you how to build it backwards, and you look up and you're like, crap, I'm done. Wow, that was amazing. So like when you build it backwards, it works better. Why have content if they can't opt in or buy anything? It doesn't make sense. So what you need to do is you need to write down your 5 core principles that you would tell any new person that's getting married and about to have a kid, or is married and about to have their first child. What are the 5 marriage principles that they have to know with this new being that is entering their life? These are called categorical principles, and that's how we teach people to build their content out. They're not courses, okay? It's basically 5 modules, maybe 30-minute talking head videos, just like we've got right here. And you have to record those right now. Now, you could outline these, like if these were my 5 principles of marriage while raising small children, if these were the 5 things that keep us together, 5 things that keep our expectations aligned, 5 things that keep us in control, what would those 5 pillars be? And the goal would be to master those 5 pillars over the next couple years, right? Because marriage is hard. But then you can bullet point under them other things that you could teach under each category. Like maybe for example, maybe I'm just going to pick a random thing here. Maybe one of your pillars is date night every week, period. That's just a common thing that a lot of marriage programs have. Well, then you might look under it like how to set up the date night, how to do this in the date night. What do you do for the date night? Ideas for the date night. Like those are courses you'll make later. But getting the 5 categories right now get done helps you get it out of your head. There it is. I've got someone where someone could go give me money. Now, how do you fill in the holes? That's not everything anyone could ever learn about marriage. So, that's fine. Let people join the community and then do Q&As weekly for the first year. Okay. Those questions are going to fill in the gaps in between those phases, those principles. So you're eventually over time, your membership grows. But to launch a membership, you need to hit record 5 times for 30 minutes. That's 2.5 hours of recording, right? And that's it. You have an outline, you talk to the camera, and it's done. Then you create a Facebook group for your people. That's easy. Do that in one day. Don't worry about fancy forums and stuff like we've got. Do a Facebook group and then sign up for Zoom, which is free. And now you can do Zoom meetings with anyone that will join. It immediately transforms the whole business because now all these people on your list, you can sell them something. Maybe 2 of them join at $50 a month, right? And you have couples coaching calls. You have all these things. And all of a sudden you look up and you're like, wow, we're making $100 a month. And then you get 2 more people. Wow, we're making $200 a month. Then you get 2 more people. Honey, Abby, we're making $600 a month. And then that's where the stacking comes in, but it's not possible until you do that. So other than the fears, other than the obstacles, other than these conversations that you need to have with Abby, the big thing you've got to do is say, I am not recording another podcast. I am not writing another email. I am not doing anything else until I outline this, record this course, and I can log into Kajabi and I can see it. And there's an order form and there's a sales page. Now we've got a business. Now we're ready to go make some money. Okay.
Yep. Yeah. And that's where I do have the outline and I have the offer in Kajabi. I have
that outline's doing nothing for you right now.
Points I just need to hit record. And that's the thing. I mean, I've done it to where, I know everything's, if I hit record, I put those in there. I already have the other stuff set up. Just ready to go. And I think that's just been a big thing is like, I've been kind of like shying away from that.
This is the analogy I've been using a lot lately is Tyler, if me and you were friends and we were meeting for coffee and we got to talking and you're like, hey man, I'm starting this new marriage coaching thing, man. It's awesome. You got a kid coming on the way, man. You'd be perfect for it. And I'm like, really? Tell me more about it. And you're like, oh yeah, man, it's awesome, dude. I've learned a lot over the last few years. And, I really think that we're in a good stride with balancing these kids and our marriage and things like that. And I really want to help people get through some frustrations that I went through. And also, facilitate, helping experts come and give some advice and things like that. And man, it's awesome. And it's going to be cool. We're going to meet weekly and just have a nice little couples session. And, I got training in there that people can watch it when things are going wrong. It's really cool. And I'm like, man, that sounds great. How do I give you money? You can't answer that question right now. Right. Yeah. So if you can't sell to 1, how are you ever going to find the 100? You know what I mean? And like everybody's got to embrace that. Like make the membership, sign up for Kajabi, get it in there. Be ready for when that 1 person shows up because you're being consistent, prolific, and relentless. You are ready to accept their credit card, right?
Yep.
And now you've got a coaching client. Now you get 2 more. You got a community. You know what I'm saying? Wherever 2 or more are gathered, baby, the Lord is there. Well, guess what? Yep. Wherever 2 or more are gathered with a leader, you've got a membership. So you got to be able to have them somewhere to gather. Let's get them gathered, baby. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Awesome stuff. Okay, so I usually ask people what I want them to, what they think they should do, but I'm going to tell you what you should do. Okay, like do not go to sleep today until you have recorded a 30-minute video, which is the first phase of your thing. You can get off, go grab you a cup of coffee or whatever after this that you drink and sit down and really outline 1 page in a Google document. Like open Google Docs, 1 page. If it goes to the second page, you got to edit because over 1 page will be more than 25 minutes and you can't do that, right? And
Right.
then you're going to talk right into the camera for 30 minutes. You're going to record that today. You're going to upload it to Kajabi, and you have a product now started. And that's going to get you some momentum. Just get that recorded. Then do the next one. Don't do anything else in your business until you've got your phases. You know, you look in the Flip Your Life community, you're in there. So you can see how I've got it blocked into phases, right? There's 7 phases in the Flip Your Life journey. So just get your phases and record the first one, and you're off to the races, man. You're good. Okay. Then you can start promoting it on that podcast when you start recording again.
Yep.
Pretty cool, man. Sound good?
Yeah.
Love it, dude. Well, listen, I appreciate you, man, so much. I know it can be very nerve-wracking to come on this show and be so vulnerable and transparent. But, man, listen, there's a lot of people listening to this podcast right now that are in the same boat. I started. I gave it up. I came back. I don't know what to do next. I'm having a little imposter syndrome. That's cool, man. We all do. It never goes away. I'm trying to speak on some huge stages right now, and don't think I don't have a little imposter syndrome in the back of my brain that I'm dealing with right now. Yep. You know what I mean? And it's just part of the game. And when honor the struggle, embrace the struggle, and I really believe great things are going to happen for you and Abby, man.
Yep. So you think once I get those videos recorded, which is I'm going to do it because you told me to, I'm going to do it. That's what I need the motivation. But then what's my timeline? Just get it ready, get it to go. I mean, even with a very small list, I mean,
who cares?
Get it open.
As soon as you can take a check, as soon as you can have a credit card order form, send it to your list and see if anybody joins. Reach out to every one of them one-on-one and be like, hey, I'm doing this. Like if you send a message to me and said, hey, I'm a marriage coach. You are a marriage coach. You got to say that. Look in the mirror and go, I am a marriage coach. I'm not trying to be a marriage coach. I am a marriage coach. And you said, man, are you having trouble balancing the new kids and the work life and the marriage? Well, listen, we're going to have weekly meetings for couples. And it's $50 a month. And I'm going to have trainings in there. I'm going to bring you some of the best experts that I can reach out to you. So you're going to get to talk to psychotherapists and stuff like that. You can have guests on your Q&A. And then you're going to have we're going to talk every week about it. So you don't have to be married with little kids alone ever again. I'm going to facilitate that for you. You'll have someone join. You'll have someone very, very interested. It's going to be $50 a month, but I'll let anybody who wants to join now, both of the couple for $25. Just launch it with a beta group. Someone will buy that. I bet you.
Yep.
Sound good?
Sounds good.
Love it, brother. All right, guys, that wraps up my interview with Flip Your Life community member Tyler Brooks. Man, all of us have to face down that imposter syndrome from time to time when we're trying to move forward, trying to build something to give our families a better future. And that's a lot of what we do inside of the Flip Your Life community. We are in this together. It's not just a collection of courses that you follow to build your business. That's important. That's in there. The Flip Your Life Blueprint is your step-by-step guide to go out and put your membership together. Tyler's going to go in right now and he's going to see I've got an entire training on how to create his membership site, how to create his product and get it out there to the world, but helping each other overcome these fears, overcoming these obstacles, overcoming these things that we all go through that are a part of our entrepreneurial journey. That's what we do in the Flip Your Life community forums. That's what we do on all of our member calls. And that's what we do right here on the podcast. If you have any fears, any obstacles, any hangups that are holding you back from taking your next steps in your online business journey, we would love to help you overcome them inside of the Flip Your Life community. And we would love for you to try it out for the next 30 days for free. All you have to do is go to flippedlifestyle.com/free. That's FLIPPED lifestyle.com/free. And you can start a 30-day free trial in the Flip Your Life community right now. We have trainings to help you overcome imposter syndrome, overcome all of these objections and obstacles that keep holding you back. We talk every day in the Flip Your Life community forums about our struggles and we overcome them together. And of course, we are always there for you live on monthly member calls so that we can help you take your next steps and build that business you've always dreamed of. That's flippedlifestyle.com/free, and you can start your 30-day free trial today. All right, guys, we are about out of time for today. But before we close the Flip Lifestyle podcast, we always like to end our shows with a verse from the Bible. Jocelyn and I get a lot of our inspiration and motivation from the Bible, and we love to share that wisdom with all of you today. And one of my favorite things in the world is when our guests share a Bible verse that is really important to them as well with us so that we can learn. And super excited because Tyler has a Bible verse that he would like to share with you guys today. So Tyler, take it away.
All right, it is Proverbs 3:5-6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Do not depend on your own understanding. Seek his will in all you do, and he will show you which path to take. That's been one of my favorite verses for most of my life. It's just I always find that comforting when I don't know what to do or things are beyond my understanding, and especially just making decisions, whether it's in life or business or, big decisions, small decisions. It just really has been encouraging to me, to just put my trust in the Lord with all of my heart, to be all in my faith, and just to trust that he's gonna guide me. So that's like I said, my one of my kind of my life verse, 2 life verses there.
All right, guys, that is all the time we have for this episode of the Flipped Lifestyle Podcast. What a great Bible verse that Tyler shared with us. Lean not on your own understanding. I love that verse because what it really says is you are not alone. You don't have to figure it out alone. You don't have to do it all alone. We are in this together, and we can't wait to be back with you again right here together on the next episode of the Flip Lifestyle Podcast. So until then, get out there, take action, do whatever it takes to flip your life and change your family's future. We'll see you then.
Bye.
One more thing before we go. Thank you so much for listening to the Flipped Lifestyle Podcast. If you love the Flipped Lifestyle Podcast, if we bring a little joy and a little happiness and we bring some knowledge into your life every single week, could you do us a favor? Go to Apple Podcast and hit subscribe. Download a few of the podcast episodes onto your phone. Apple's algorithm loves seeing downloads, and it loves seeing those subscribes. And please leave us an honest review over on Apple Podcast. That'll help us grow the show, expand the mission, and reach more people so that we can help them change their family's future as well. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.